Bold Podcast.
What is up, guys, and welcome to the Bold Podcast, where the topic is picked by the bold. Today, we have a special guest. Let me say this before we start. This woman right here is one of the realest people I know, man. And not just because of today, because, I was doing some stuff with the audio, and she came in clutch with her computer. But it wasn't just that. It was before that. It was like anything that you needed. This woman right here. Okay, so without further ado, Miranda, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. I can't complain.
You good. I'm gonna turn it to you so you can be comfortable. Go ahead, you good.
Okay. Can't complain. It's been a good day. You know, I'm here alive, breathing. Can't complain too much.
Good. Okay. So I always ask. So tell the people, how did we meet?
So we actually met. I'm a part of his sister's sorority. He's a part of my brother fraternity in college. So he actually was already a brother before I became a sister, and we just went to a lot of the same parties and gatherings and Greek stuff in college.
Yep. That's right. Oh,
yeah,
perfect. That was
Greek
good.
life.
That was good. Yeah. And we've been kicking it ever since. It's interesting too. Like, even with Greek life, I don't know if y'all are in Greek life, but Greek life is interesting because you meet so many people, good ones and bad ones. But it's like when your orgs are connected, you see each other like all the time. Like you said, like at all the parties, at all the events,
yes.
it's like you're always connected. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm honored to be connected to you. And I gotta say this too. She's a healthcare professional. So I just want you to talk about that life just for a little bit, because I know there's people that are looking at healthcare from the outside, kind of like we were talking about. And so they see it like, wow, like, that's a tough job, but I don't think they understand how like tough it is or challenging. Can you just talk about that for a little bit?
So I'm actually a nurse. I work in the pediatric ER downtown TMC.
Nice.
So just being a nurse in general, I understand, like, whenever I went to college and stuff like that, I was like, oh, you're going to be a nurse? Oh, that's so cool. And I was like, okay, yeah. And then, you graduate, you start working and stuff, and you realize how hard of a job it actually is.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's very hard I feel like any school to really prepare you for that.
Yeah.
And then working as a pediatric nurse, I've learned not that I only have to, care for the pediatric patient, but for their parents as well, the family as a whole.
Wow. Okay.
So that's in turn kind of a different form of nursing. You kind of have to learn to regulate your emotions and feelings a little bit better.
I feel that.
But the kids definitely make it worth it. I've learned to love and hate my profession for the most part. But I feel like it offers so many doors that I'm not even aware of, and I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do. So, yeah.
That's good. No, that's good. I think, and I think a lot of times when people go into healthcare, a lot of their aim is the kids. And I completely understand because I know like, older, well, really like our age and above, because we're like 20s, but like really above us, right in that 40-50 range, it can be challenging, because I know a lot of times a lot of the people, and you say you work with the entire family pretty much, so it's like what would you say is the difference between the kids, like telling the kids something, and then telling the parents? Like, what would you say the difference is?
So I guess the best way to explain it is that you can tell the kids, and they will either understand you or they won't,
Okay.
or they'll look towards their parents. And so
Yeah.
sometimes it's a matter of you having to make the parents understand as well. And
Mm,
so, and if they don't, that makes my job even harder.
exactly.
So it's very important that you get the whole, not just the kid, not just the mom or the dad, but
Hmm.
everybody to kind of understand what's going on.
Yeah.
And I mean, if the kid doesn't, because they're too young or they have, disabilities or anything like that,
Hmm.
if you don't have the parent on board, that just makes my job a whole lot harder, and
Exactly.
giving them the appropriate care, like in a timely manner as well, that much harder. So
That's
it
facts.
definitely makes a big difference, like have getting, if not the kid to understand, the parent as well. So
Yeah, and that's something that I noticed too is like getting them all to, all right, everybody, this is what's going on, and people are like, I don't know what
yeah.
that is, and
Oh,
so you
it
try.
definitely, if it can definitely make or break your experience
Okay.
within, just a whole, like the experience with, one particular family. And I've had those experiences, good and bad.
Yeah.
But definitely, I can have that just one good experience make a
Okay.
whole week of like just bad experiences just like worth it, honestly.
That's facts.
It definitely does.
That's facts. So, and this is the last question I'll ask before we start pulling from the bowl.
Okay.
And so for anybody that, of course, for anybody that wants to be a nurse, school, like, what advice would you give them, like, real quick? Because I
Um,
know school can be
yes.
challenging. Yeah.
I remember whenever I was in nursing school, and even just before nursing school, how they just harped about how it's going to be so hard. It's like, oh,
Mm,
it's going to be so hard. It's going to be a whole lot different. Your studying techniques and things like that are going to be so different, and you need to
yeah.
figure it out, and you need to figure it out fast. And you do.
Okay.
Nursing school is no joke. It's very fast paced. But once you get out into the actual nursing world, you have a career in everything.
Mm,
I don't want to say everything's just thrown out the window,
okay.
but it's a whole new experience. Like
Yeah.
you pretty much, like, it's just what they teach you in nursing school is just, it's pretty much the basics, and then you just go from there. And I would probably, my biggest advice to anybody is just not to get discouraged about, just that one little thing, that one little write up, that one little F, that one little um F in, like, on a test, or a failed clinical or something like
Right. Right.
that.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, if you make it and you pass your NCLEX and everything like that, and if
Yeah.
the real test is whenever you get out there and
Hands
get on the
on.
floor and everything like
Yeah.
that.
That's
I
right.
mean, I'll be honest, I like failed a class and
Mhm.
everything in nursing school, and I mean, I would consider myself a good nurse. Like, I really
It's
do. And
good.
it was a matter of just getting over that fact. And that semester I actually learned a lot, probably a whole lot more than
Yeah.
I did in my other semesters.
See.
So, just to take those little failures as they come, you know, let it happen, take a deep breath and move on, which is kind of like how I try to live for the most
Yeah.
part now. Following, like, not in nursing school. Nursing school, I was probably a little bit more of a nervous wreck, but now I'm like, okay,
No,
well,
yeah,
it
yeah.
happens, I just move on.
Yeah, yeah. See, there you go. And that's how it goes. That's how it goes.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's jump in the bowl here. I'm gonna grab it, but don't look in there. Just pull.
Okay.
You can mix it around, whatever you ever want to do it.
Okay.
Okay. All right. What you got?
Okay. Social media.
That's crazy. Hey, that we were talking about that before we even started. That's crazy. Okay, so let's talk about it. I guess for the
Okay.
people now, how do you feel about social media? And just go ahead.
I mean, me personally, I just feel like it's hyped up a
Okay,
lot.
yeah.
And obviously you have your influencers, your Instagram influencers, your social media influencers, that's how they make their money, things like that. And there's people that are built for that are, I was like born for this. But I just think it it can bring on a lot of negative, like, emotions and feelings for people.
That's right.
I feel like I kind of fall under that category. Like, I will, just be scrolling through Instagram, and I see, like, not necessarily fitness model. I do enjoy like fitness, like
Gotcha.
Instagram, like those pages. I love those. But just like a model or something like that that just looks so slim. You know, she's in her bikini,
Yeah.
or you know, she's like sporting some lingerie, and I'm like, man, like, and and I know, like, you know, they do their work, they do the time to, you know, get to that point.
Yeah.
But it just I know for me, it just, man, I was like, man, like, why can't I look like that? Why don't I look like that? And
Interesting.
there's definitely just like, and like, you know, that's just one example.
Yeah.
But there's just different posts that I see that like I'll read and I'll just like get a little bit like discouraged about.
I can understand
But then again, you know, like, you know, the flip side, there's like, I love like fitness pages and stuff
Right.
like that. I love looking at those, like looking at their different routines and be like, you know, okay, you know, I can use that maybe next time. But definitely, it's definitely a source of like fast news. And sometimes I feel like whenever like news is quote unquote fast, you don't get all the details.
Yes.
And so, you know, like, so like, you know, they can be like, you know, oh, well, there was a, you know, mass shooting here, you know, 4 victims were involved and, you know, no deaths were, you know, and actually it's like, well, maybe there was 1 or 2 deaths and sorry.
No, you can.
That's my bad.
You're good. You're good.
It
happens.
But yeah, like, it's just, I don't know. I think people, it's just like, it can just bring on like a lot of negativity, like emotions, you know, can bring people down. And I personally, just because I feel like can be a very emotional person.
Okay.
I don't like to add any more that can cause any more bad emotions to come out or cause me to become a little bit more anxious or like sad or mad or like agitated or anything like that.
That's
so
right.
I mean, I do have like my Instagram and like a Facebook, whatnot, but I don't really get on Facebook. Instagram, I just kind of was like, okay, but I know what I like, and I kind of try to just gravitate towards that a little bit more. But yeah, like, I see people like influencers, you know, like with mass followings and like, you know, whether it be like for like fashion or fitness or just general like just, you know, like, or like even, you know, actors and actresses and stuff like that. Like, I'm like, oh, okay, like, you know, they post positive stuff and I like enjoy that. But I mean, I know just for me personally, it can cause like a lot of negative emotions, and I just, you know, try to dial that back as much as I can.
I feel that. And you know, it's funny because I was actually talking the first episode of the podcast. I had one of my friends, her name is Laboria, and she does the whole social media thing, and she has a pretty big following.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that you say that, because she was saying kind of the same thing. She was like, a lot of people will look at my page and they feel like, oh wow, she lives this life and she does this and this. And she was like, but honestly, it's just that's who I am on social media, you know?
Yeah.
And so she's like, sometimes it can be tough because I want to create other content, but they kind of like hold her to, you got to post this and this and this, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so she was like
moderate kind of,
right, and what more so like what the audience wants, you know? And so it's interesting that you say that, because I think about that too. I hear I forgot who said it, but I heard somebody say that social media is just people's highlight reel. It's not actually their daily life. Because think about it, it's like if I'm watching Netflix and just chilling all day, I probably won't post. But if I go on vacation to the Bahamas, see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it's like, and if I have that, and then I'm like, oh, well, I did go to Cancun the other week, so let me post that this week. So then people think, oh, he went to the Bahamas, he went to Cancun, and then I just post
he's living this fast life, this fast luxury life.
Yeah, when actually that picture was from 3 years ago, you know.
3 years ago.
But I post it every other week because I'm like, okay, I want y'all to know that, or it's a perceived thing, like this is my life, but really it's just a highlight reel, you know. So I can understand, and that when I realized that, it kind of helped me to, you know, deal with those feelings that you're talking about. And because I was like, okay, I pretty much these people, they don't do this every day or every week. I know they have days where they're like, I'm just gonna stay in the house, you know, like a real person.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And that was the last thing that I was saying to her too on the first episode. I was saying, no, she was saying, she was like, I like this. She liked the podcast. She liked being on here because she was like, it really allows me to show my other side where like I like to just chill, like I'm not gonna do nothing today, you know, and show that here. So that's crazy though. That's crazy though. Do you think, I'm gonna ask you this about social media? I hear a lot of people have the debate. Do you think the world will be better with or without social media? Now I know there's pros and cons, but out of the pros and cons, do you think it's a bigger con or pro?
Well, that's a very good question.
Yeah, I feel you.
I think, in my opinion, I would have to think back about, like, back in the day when cell phones and things like that weren't a thing.
That's right.
What did we have? We had TV. We had like the news.
Yeah, exactly.
The news and brought you information and things like that. And I would kind of have to translate it in, to that's how like social media can be, and that's how I use it. So like some of my different channels on some of my different social media accounts, are like the news. Like that's how I get my news, because I don't generally watch the news channel on TV.
Yeah.
So I feel like if I were to say, oh, do away with it, that I'm saying, okay, well, do away with the way that I find out my news, that my news like intake.
Yeah.
And so I don't feel like that would be entirely, I mean, I guess that would, in my opinion, it wouldn't be entirely like safe. Like that's how I get my information. So as much as I, I guess kind of not necessarily harp, but I'm like, like social media shouldn't be a big thing.
Yeah.
It is important. Like it does, it does provide, informative information and important information.
Yeah.
So I would have to say that, like, I mean,
rather keep it.
Yeah, I would rather keep it, have it around, so that we can stay informed and still get in, like be involved in like our like friends and families' lives and whatnot. But as far as like I think what really gets me is just whenever it's like the younger kids that like that start posting so young and seeing all that, and I feel like they're just a whole lot more, they're exposed to that, all of that at a younger age.
Yeah.
And I feel like it really affects them.
That's
it really does. So I mean, I think that was the point that I was trying to get across earlier.
Yeah. No,
that
great.
Yeah. So I think just maybe a little bit more moderated, but no, definitely like it. I definitely think it should be something that's here to stay, honestly.
And that's a great point that you brought up about, because I know you were even talking about it, how when you get on there, you're like, oh, there's this model, and wow, like she looks great. Like, man, why can't?
I mean, if I think that,
that's what I was gonna say too. Like, and we're in our 20s, and you think about somebody that's like high school, early middle school, looking at that and being like,
and they're so like impersonable too. Like they're like they are gonna look at something and they're gonna definitely go hard one way or the other. Whereas I'm just like, okay, I see that now, but I think about like, oh well, I know what it's taken for her to get there. I know what she's done. I have an idea. Whereas like if like a younger person, like a high schooler, middle schooler, like someone in elementary is gonna look at that and I'm like, wow, that's what I need to look like. And I don't look like that.
I need it. And that's what I was gonna say too, is now I think with social media is such a copycat mentality to where, because I think in the beginning, to bring up like MySpace, like when we had MySpace, see, everybody loves MySpace. But when we had MySpace, you got to see people's individuality. Like they'd be like, okay, I want my background to be Michael Jordan. That was me. I had Michael Jordan.
Ah.
But there was other people that'd be like, I wanted to be, I don't know, Powerpuff Girls, or and everybody could, and then you could pick a song like, oh, this is my song that represents me, and everybody was able to show how they were as individuals. And so I wondered, I was like, man, this conspiracy theory, but I wondered why they did away with something like MySpace and then introduced like, oh, Instagram, Facebook, stuff that is like
moderated.
Yeah,
like you have to like perform or post in this little box
within this system.
You can report.
And so I think they did that within this system, so it could be. Don't come looking for me. But they're like, there he is. We got him. I'm like, uh-oh, I didn't mean it. No, but I think they did away with the individuality, and they're creating this. Because think about it, you look at all the IG models now, and we had models back then. Like you think about like the angels, I forget what their name are, the something angels, but the models, and they come and they wear the wings and they're like models.
Like Victoria's Secret.
There you go.
Okay.
And them, like you can look at them and be like, oh well, she's like taller than her. She's from Colombia. She's from this. She looks like this. But you look at IG. And it'll be like, oh, she's got a BBL, she's got a BBL, she's got, you know what I'm saying? And they all, this is how you do your makeup. And they all look like Kim Kardashian, And so the individuality has been kind of stripped out, I feel like. And I think that's what made social media the way it is now. Rather than being an individual, they're like, nah, copy this. And I think they're getting the young people to kind of, this is beauty, this is, because even though they had beauty standards, in the past, it was still as an individual. So, you know what I'm saying? But now it's like, now you got to use this makeup. Your body has to look like this, So,
yeah.
Don't cancel me. All right. So, with that being said, let's go ahead. We're going to dig into the bowl again.
Okay.
Let's see what we get. See, good topic. I already knew.
Let's see. We were preparing ourselves. We knew subconsciously. Alrighty, I have State of the World.
Goodness, okay.
That's a bit of a heavy one.
That's a heavy one. I feel like you're pulling all the heavy ones.
I know.
But you know what's interesting? I think all the topics that people pull is kind of like, it's crazy because it's perfect for them. Like I feel like even with you, like of course all of my guests are smart, intellectual, but from knowing you, I've always. You've always had that mind that was like, like let me think about that. Like let me, and you've always kind of took that on,
Yes.
So that being said, don't let me down. The state of the world. No.
I'll try.
I'm just playing. So when it comes to the state of the world, do you feel like it has changed? Like, okay, I'm gonna ask you like this.
Okay.
First, do you think it's changed from the past? Like, and if it has it gotten better or worse? Like, just like, I guess you could say like wars and healthcare and all that. Like, looking at the world, would you say, oh, back then it was better, or back then it was worse? It's gotten better. What would you say?
I guess, like taking taking what you've asked and everything, okay. I would have to kind of, I would have to just bring up the fact. So like, in your, like middle school and high school classes, you take, history.
Okay.
So why do you learn history? Ultimately, they say you learn history so that you don't repeat history.
That's facts. Okay.
But even if I feel like even though we do that, we learn history, I wasn't ever really good at history, but I have a lot of friends that are like, they're just like random facts. I'm like, what? They're like, this is this. Did you not learn this? Something? I think I might have missed that day, honestly. I don't know.
I wasn't there.
Or I might have been asleep. I don't know. But I was a good student, trust me.
Yeah. She's a nurse.
But I, even as much as we try to prepare ourselves and educate ourselves and try to like keep from repeating the past, I think there's just some whatever it be, like some higher being that's like just like that puts us on like repeat, that
Yeah.
makes us all go through the same things, over again.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess like a good example would be like COVID.
Okay. Yeah.
We went through that whole ordeal. What happened when COVID did, they shut everything down, nobody could really go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Did they really do that in the past? I can't really recall a time.
Right.
But they would, with like the plagues and stuff like that, they would, shut people into their homes, and
Right.
unfortunately, where they would meet their demise and whatnot. But
Yeah, because they didn't have the healthcare and
yeah. So as far as like the state that we're in now, for me personally, like it kind of worries me, just the
Okay.
state that with again, like social media and the news, politics, the leadership that we have right now. It just I feel like it's just kind of like it's just like a worrisome thing, like that the people that we choose to have as our like presidents and our governors and whatnot, may not entirely have the best interests of
Interest for
the
the
people.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think, you have that. And then so you have the opposing team that's like, we don't like them as well. But then they take it to the other extreme.
Yeah. I get
And, there's like, there has to be a balance.
Mm-hmm.
And I really don't think there is that right now.
Yeah.
As far as talking like specifically, I'm not a very big political person. I kind of just try to know the basics.
Okay.
And as far as like that goes, and like me being in healthcare and whatnot, and just seeing just like on a personal level, it's for me, it's a cause of worry. Just and then with our younger, like the younger generation, like being like involved, I feel like that with everything that's going on, all the negativity and whatnot, I feel like that is like a big positive, because they're like, like, oh, we see all this going on, what's happening, all this turmoil, and we want to be involved and we want to do something about it. And that way, as we learn and grow and get more involved and do more things, we can actually have maybe a bit more of a positive impact,
right?
Or like make it to where we can all at least reach some common ground and work together, even if we have different opinions, thoughts, belief, faith, things like that. We can all just like learn to coincide and co-live with one another.
Coexist.
And I, working with kids, I kind of, see that, and it just like that like makes me makes me a little bit more excited about the future, and have a little bit more faith in the future and what they can bring, because right now it's just like a whole lot of ugly that I don't know what we're gonna do with. It's just no,
and that great job. You didn't let me down. You did good. You did good. See, I told y'all.
I tried.
Look, I told y'all. But you know what? What you said is great about the balance, and and that's why I said what I said about the social media, about the copying. And I think what it's doing is, when you're copying people, the scales go like this, because there are some people that are naturally against certain things, like but they feel like, well, everybody's going over there, so
I guess I should go over there.
And so
too.
It's going like this, when if you were yourself, then it would be balanced, And I think what happens is, a lot of people will try, and like you said about the kids are really the source of change for the future. And I think a lot of people will miss that, because they think about themselves, where it's like, okay, I need to make this happen. I need to.
Yes.
But it's like, once you have a kids, that's your legacy, And so you got to prepare them, like, okay, now it's about you. Like, I'm going to be gone, so let me give it to you. And I think what happens is, now the parents are trying to live with the kids, to where it's like, all right, look, I'm with you, but I got to make this happen for me, And the kids are
like live. I mean, like they say, like, live vicariously through your children.
Yeah. And so, and I've seen that, because I agree, the state of the world is crazy right now, you know. And I think a lot of people, social media, it's like everybody's trying to have that power over other people, if that makes sense. Like, because think
Have
about
that influence.
of that influence. It's like, I need more followers, I need more likes, I need more people to view my. And you look at what the message is, and if all the top people and all the people that are getting all the followers are following the wrong path, then it's like,
then they're all going down the wrong path.
We're all going down the wrong path. And I think it's important for certain people, because I've noticed something. There are certain people that speak up about stuff and people agree, but they can't say it out loud that they agree.
They can't say it upright, like
right,
like upfront. They have to be like, "Oh, I agree."
Politically, but
correct. I'm just not gonna say it, or I'm just gonna support you this way. But still do my own thing over here.
That's perfect. And they'll come to you like later and be like, "Hey, keep doing what you're doing. Good job." But it's like, I heard somebody say, like, now in the society, we do have a lot of people that show like cowardice, and not necessarily in the way of like, oh, I'm scared to, but it is a thing where a culture has been created. I hope I don't get canceled, because all this stuff, this is crazy, but even cancel culture, like,
oh well, yeah,
it's been a thing where there's such a fear, like, all right, you could talk, but you better not say this and this and this and this, and it's like,
well, then what can I say?
What's left for me to say then? And then so you just have to be in a place where you are either going to bum rush it and be like, well, I'm going to just say it anyway. Or you have to kind of pretty much say what they want you to say, And so I think with the world being in that place, it's kind of tough. But, something I'll say, and this is the last thing I'll say on that is, because I love God, love the Lord. And I think I've seen people usually band together when things outside of our control start going crazy. For instance, COVID was something out of our control. And I think when that happened, people were like, okay, y'all, we got to figure out what we're gonna do. And it's like, okay, hey, you wear a mask, all right, I'll wear one, you and it was like, it caused people,
hey guys, how about we all wear masks,
let's help each other. And people started saying, even if it was for them, they were like, okay, in order to be protected, I have to do it and you have to do it, and let's protect each other. And that was our solution for, let's band together. But I saw that it only came when something else bigger than us kind of affected us, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, like, I think, I don't know what God's gonna be doing, but I think in the times to come, there might be some stuff that goes on where we have to be like, okay, we got to settle these differences and come together. So wow, you did pull the deep. I was really thinking about it.
I've been making you think.
Yeah, I was like, she pulled all the deep. I was like, I'm gonna take those out of the bowl. No, okay. So let's pull from the bowl. Hopefully, we don't get something like crazy.
Let's see.
Okay, you got it. You're gonna do good.
Okay, maybe I pulled all the hard ones out. Okay.
Let's see. What'd you get?
Okay. Advice for your younger self.
Okay. That's a good one. Okay. So you go back in time. You're talking to your younger self. What do you say?
I think I would honestly tell myself to not worry about what other people think. I still do. It's still a very, very hard thing for me not to do. But I've become a little bit more comfortable, and I've learned to become a little bit more comfortable with who I am. I'm still learning. I'm still growing. It's an ongoing process. But I feel like if that was embedded into me at a younger age, I would be a whole lot more confident nowadays. And not just who I am, but just in general. I feel like I lack a lot of confidence. I'm more of a, if anybody asks me, I'm like, fake it till you make it. I mean, honestly, like I really kind of like live by that, because I just don't like, there's just so, and it's not even that I've like lived a hard life
I got
or
you.
anything like that. I think it just kind of stems from the fact that and I think I heard it before, but you know, that one negative comment and it just kind of like ruins you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that like happened to me. I
Interesting.
heard
Okay.
that the other day. It was like, oh yeah, like so and so's like you know a person will say something negative about you and it sticks for you for life. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you know, it really does. Like I never thought of it like that until I heard that comment, and I was like, I mean,
Wow.
it really does make a difference. Like,
Yeah.
and so I would just tell my younger self to be just like, you know, like just take it in,
Yeah.
take a deep breath, and just, you know, do your best to move on. And
That's good.
it's not like it's easy to forget. Like
Of
it's
course.
not, but just to learn, like to learn from it and grow from it, and not to let it, you know, hold you back from anything.
Yeah.
And because I know now it's just like I said, like I'm, you know, working through it best as I can.
Uh-huh.
But you know, some days are a whole lot better than others, and yeah, like just not to be so hard on yourself.
Hard on
Like
yourself.
it's
Yeah.
definitely a very tough thing. It's a tough world, and you know, some people, you know, you think that you have to be perfect in everything that you do,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and you have to, you know, by a certain age, you know, have that house, have that car, have that, you know, husband and family and whatnot.
Right.
I mean, if we were to be honest, like if I were to have been, if I would have been like, if I had everything that I thought I would have at this age, I would have already been married with kids.
See?
Honestly, I would have
Okay.
been married. And like at this point in my life, I'm like, that is the furthest thing from like, if like I would go along with the plans that I have for myself now,
Yeah.
that's not what I want for myself. That
Mm-hmm.
is not what I want for myself.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like I feel like it'd be so crazy if I actually sat down and talked to myself, like my young self. Like I'm thinking like sitting down and talk to like my high school self.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
even just like my like religion and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I see it kind of differently now,
I got
and
you.
I feel like I would just be kind of like blown, like both like young me and like me now would be like blown away by like
Right.
one another.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And just like talking about it just makes me be like, wow, that's crazy.
That's
Like
crazy.
that's
See?
so crazy.
That's what the Bold Podcast. Now look.
That's
Trying to
what it
sponsor.
makes you
I'm like,
think.
you see, no, but that's good. No, and I'll say this too, because they, of course, they don't know, but you're a triplet,
Mhm.
you
I
know,
am, yes.
and I wanted to ask. I know we were talking about the confidence.
Mhm.
Do you feel like being a triplet, even having sisters, you know, but more so, I guess a triplet. Do you feel like that helped or hurt your confidence? Not because of them, but do you feel like you were kind of like, I'm not as confident because we're triplets, or you see what I'm saying? And you know, a lot of times I've seen with like twins or triplets that people kind of make them a package deal,
Oh yeah.
you know?
Oh yeah.
And so, which, hey, I'm always honest, like, because I invited all three of y'all to be on the podcast,
Ah, okay.
but when you said, "Oh, I'll do it,"
Uh-huh.
I was like, "Bet." Like it wasn't something where it was like, "Well, nah, you know, it's nah." Like I knew I was like, I would love to have, you know, because I asked for the people. I don't
Mhm.
ask for the clout. You know, I'm
Oh,
like, I want to
okay,
hear what
yeah.
y'all have to say, you
Uh-huh.
know, or what you have to say. Anybody
Mhm.
has to say.
Mhm.
But going off of that though, I'll ask, do you feel like being with them, did people make you a package deal? And do you think that hurt your confidence, or it didn't really, you know?
So definitely when we were younger, yes, you know,
Okay.
growing up together. So like
Yeah.
up until high school, I mean, they would call us like the M girls, like that. That's what they called us. It was like, hey, like, you know, hey, like, hey, M girl, like that's. And so me and my
Uh-huh.
sisters got so used to just responding to that name, and
Yeah.
even to the point to where like if they, you know, said my sister's name, I would turn and look. Because I'm like, I'm not entirely sure if they're calling her or if they're actually calling me, but thinking I'm her by mistake, you know?
That's tough. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, but yeah. So,
That's tough.
I feel, I feel like the best way for me to answer that
Okay.
is that whenever I'm with him, I feel like I'm like the best. Like
Okay.
I feel like I can do anything. And so it makes it very tough when I'm not with them. And I feel like that's the worst part about it, is like I don't feel like I can do anything without them. And so I've had to learn that. And again, like I do think that does stem a little bit into my confidence. Like I feel a whole lot better whenever I'm with them. Like, you know, they understand me. They know why I act the way that I act. They, you know, see my goofy sides, and, you know, they don't, you know, have a second thought about it. And like they're honestly like my biggest like cheerleaders. Like they like ask, like we'll call, you know, we'll talk on the phone, and they'll be like, oh, Maria, like, what are you, like, we're doing? I was like, oh, you know, I'm sorry, guys, I can't talk, I'm going to work. And they're like, oh my God, no, it's okay, you're going to go save lives. You know, you think, you know, you get some sleep, you hope you got some good food. I hope you got some good rest. Cause
that is how they talk too. That is how they, that's how they
like,
talk too.
Guys, like, I was like, technically, yeah, but I mean, you don't have to say it like that. But they're like, it's like, no, like, and they'll be like, yeah, our sister goes and saves lives.
Yeah, let them know. Hey, let them like, know. Guys, calm down. Yeah.
But no, it's I think it has had like an impact on me, like positive and negative. But I mean, honestly, like I feel like they helped me to want to be a better person. Yeah. And that's why like I think about those things, and I'm trying to work on being better, like about like my confidence and, you know, putting myself out there and whatnot. Good. Because you have one that's like, so she's so cheerful and so happy, and I'm like, I have no reason not to be like that. And then, you know, my other sister who, you know, who probably struggles a little bit more than me with confidence and stuff like that, and I feel like, you know, I have to be that person that she can rely on and like turn to if she needs to. So So definitely, like, for sure, like I think they do like affect that aspect of me, like my confidence and stuff like that. But I think for the most part, for the better.
For the better.
Yeah.
Okay,
honestly.
good. And I'm not gonna lie, it's hilarious. But like when you said, when I asked like is your confidence better or worse, you know? And then you were like, well, when I'm with them, you know, I feel like I'm the best. I was like, the best triplet? And then I was like, don't say that. Like, no. But when you kept going, I was like, oh, okay.
No.
Them, I'm the best. I was like, oh,
so I'm the best one.
I'm the best one. I'm like, oh no.
No, but you know what? I would probably say that, and they'd probably agree. Just so, like, if they were to say it, I was like, yeah, you're right. You are the best.
But see, and that's hilarious. But that's great though, like, because I feel like we, as like, you know, because I have sisters too, and with each other, like, we know each other so well, we can go and say that, and then the other ones will be like, yeah, but you're really not. And, it's like, oh, and then we'll just go back and forth. But it's such a sibling thing, you know, to do. So that's hilarious. I love that. But at first I was like, whoa, like
it's like there's like a like knock
cut,
it down,
cut,
like
yeah, cut. Like, no, that's good. So I want to ask, so going forward, you know, as far as your confidence, do you feel like, how do I ask it? Okay, like going forward in confidence. So when you talk about it and say, well, you know, I'm not really as confident, do you make a decision like, I'm going to be more confident, you know, after you talk about it? Like, because we're talking about it. And do you leave from here and say, now I'm going to be more confident? Or do you feel like it's something that is in you kind of that makes you struggle with it no matter, you know, if you decide to be more confident or not? I don't know if I'm asking that right.
I would probably have to agree with like the second one, honestly.
Okay, that is
like
in there. Okay.
It's kind of like always in there, and I'm always kind of battling with it and whatnot. Because I mean, I had like, whenever I was in nursing school, like I went to like therapy sessions and stuff because I just had a lot of anxiety, and I still, you know, I feel like I still kind of have to fight through that. And I mean, I'm currently in therapy, and it was definitely like a big step for me, not a step that I really technically wanted to take.
Yeah.
I feel like and I feel like, you know, because I just had so many things against me, you know, one, me being Hispanic, two, just the whole like stigma, you know, behind it nowadays.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
Well, not necessarily like nowadays, but just like over the whole thing in general. And then
therapy, quote unquote.
Yes,
I get what you're saying.
Exactly. And and it was a very hard step for me to make at first, but I feel
Okay.
like once I made it, and like even like because I've gone through, like, I went through like sessions in nursing school, and then I even like I think earlier this year I had some sessions, and then like I kind of like stopped, and then because I had they offered a certain amount for free with my insurance, and I was like,
Right.
okay, I did it, and then I stopped. And then like I was like, I probably should start it back up again. And
Okay.
then like I reflected on like, well, what can I do better this time that I didn't do last time? And then so I've tried to invest myself a little bit more and actually like work, like do the exercises that they offer, like that we
Okay.
talk about,
Yeah.
and like be better about, like, be more forward about my like thoughts and emotions and talking about those
Right.
things,
Yeah.
so that they can actually give feedback about it, and so that I can actually learn and therefore like grow and
Yeah.
like figure out how I can deal with my anxiety better.
That's
So
right. Okay. Good. Well,
yeah,
that's good. I'm proud of you.
I'm trying.
I'm
It's
trying.
a daily thing.
I'm working. Yeah. So this is what we'll do.
Okay.
So last thing, I'm gonna have you. There's your camera right here.
Okay.
I'm just gonna have you. If you have any advice for anybody that's like, if you want to talk about the confidence thing, if you, you can tell, give advice or anything, and yeah, right here. And if you want to give your socials, that's cool too. I know you don't really use it,
Yeah, okay.
but I think a lot of times people, when they see podcasts, they want to follow everybody that's on here. So if you want to give your socials too, then that's cool too. If you want
Okay.
to, yeah.
I feel like the best advice I could probably possibly give anybody is just, I mean, ultimately, just maybe just learn to love yourself in whatever way that is. Be patient with yourself, be kind towards yourself. It's definitely a daily struggle that I know I face, and that I'm probably going to face, for the rest of my life. But, you look at yourself like through the eyes of others around you that love you. They're gonna see the best of you, and whereas you see the worst. So I would just like be easy on yourself. Like, it's definitely a hard thing. You know what you got to get done. You know what you got to do, and if you don't get it done, it's the next day is a new day. Do your best, best that you can, and just yeah.
That's great. Yeah, that's good.
If you want to follow me, I'm sure he follows me, so you can go look on his socials and find me. If you're meant to follow me, you're meant to follow me. If not, I feel like I'm a decent person. I'm a nice person.
Definitely.
So
And I'll put it in the description too. Just if, yeah. Okay, cool. But that's great. I always say that too. Treat yourself like a person, because a lot of times we don't. We treat ourselves like ourselves rather than we would treat somebody else like a person. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow.
Like, if you were to separate
what he said.
but you set it up. I just dunked it in. I just spiked it. All right. So thank y'all. Well, first, thank you for joining.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Of course. I loved it. All right, y'all. Thank y'all. That's pretty much it for the Bold Podcast. Peace.
The Bold Podcast.